Imagine waking up one morning to find yourself publicly accused of fathering a child with a woman you've never even met. That's exactly what happened to me. And what started as a bizarre Instagram post turned into a nightmare that nearly ruined my life. I woke up to my phone vibrating nonstop. Instagram notifications, texts, mentions, tags. My first thought, some kind of social media glitch. But as I opened one of the tags, my heart dropped. There she was, Chloe, my sister Alyssa's best friend and college roommate. She had posted pictures of pregnancy tests. Not just that, she had tagged me. The caption claimed I was the father of her baby. It didn't even feel real. I read the post over and over. He knows what he did. It's time to step up. My name, my tag, public for everyone to see. The world started spinning. I had never even met Chloe in real life. Sure, I'd seen her pop up in the background during Alyssa's FaceTime calls during the holidays. Maybe heard her name in stories. But we'd never talked. Not once. Not a single DM, not a glance across the room, nothing. So how on earth did I end up being accused of getting her pregnant? My sister Alyssa didn't even hesitate. She believed Chloe instantly. Said things like, "Why would Chloe lie about something like this, and you need to take responsibility?" I tried to stay calm, but the more I insisted the story was fake, the angrier Alyssa got. She said if I didn't own up and help Chloe financially, she'd tell our parents everything. My parents aren't abusive, but they are strict and old-fashioned. The kind who assume the worst first and ask questions later. I was stuck. Either I gave in to a lie or dealt with chaos at home. Worse yet, Chloe had apparently crafted an entire backstory. According to her, I'd been secretly messaging her on Instagram for months. I'd flown out to visit her, we'd hooked up during those secret trips, and now that she was pregnant, I had ghosted her. She even claimed I'd unsent all my messages to cover my tracks. It was insanity. I didn't even follow her on Instagram, let alone message her. But Alyssa clung to it. She said Chloe wouldn't make this up. She repeated it like a mantra. Chloe wouldn't lie. Chloe wouldn't lie. Desperate, I suggested a DNA test. Alyssa scoffed, saying Chloe found that suggestion insulting. Apparently asking for proof was now offensive. So I was caught in a nightmare. I kept saying I'd never touched her, never even talked to her. But the people around me didn't care. Alyssa began sending long texts, talking about how Chloe was already under so much stress and how I was making things worse. By the end of the day, I was mentally and emotionally drained. There was no reasoning with Alyssa. Every time I tried to explain, she acted like I was making excuses. Then came the online war. The next morning, Chloe's post had gone viral among her circle. My name was everywhere. People I didn't know were leaving comments. "You don't deserve her. Step up and be a man." Disgusting. My own account became a battlefield. Even Alyssa's friends' girls I'd barely spoken to jumped in. Some even DM'd me, saying I was ruining Chloe's life. One message said, "Guys like you don't deserve peace. You make your mistakes and then run from them." Chloe, of course, doubled down. She posted more update screenshots of vague texts, pictures of ultrasound appointments, none with me in them, of course, and captions like, "Doing this alone, but I'll be strong for my baby." She was feeding the drama, and the crowd was eating it up. Then Alyssa added fuel to the fire. She started posting her own subtle stories. Quotes like, "Blood isn't thicker than accountability," and "Family doesn't mean silence in the face of wrongdoing." She didn't mention me by name, but everyone knew who she meant. It wasn't just public anymore, it was personal. My own sister had turned against me. That night, I sat in the dark, wondering what my next move was. Chloe wouldn't take a paternity test. Alyssa wouldn't listen. My parents were still in the dark for now, but the clock was ticking. How do you prove something didn't happen? I needed evidence, but all I had was my word. And Chloe had an entire social media narrative. Then, something unexpected happened. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse. They did. But this time, it was the kind of worse that came with a spark of hope. At 3:00 a.m., unable to sleep, I stared blankly at my phone, and then a new message appeared. It was from someone named Brandon. At first, I assumed it was another stranger hurling insults at me, but then I opened it and started reading. Brandon wasn't accusing me, he was warning me. He introduced himself as Chloe's ex-boyfriend, according to Brandon. They had recently broken up after dating for over a year. The reason Chloe cheated on him with a random guy she met on a dating app. After finding out, he confronted her, and she confessed. That's when things got interesting. Brandon told me that right after the breakup. Chloe called him crying, saying she was pregnant and that he was the father. She begged him to come back, said they could raise the baby together, and even hinted at getting married. But Brandon wasn't buying it. He shut her down. And just like that, she vanished from his life. That's when Chloe pivoted to me. Brandon said she had no backup plan and must have decided to find someone else to pin the pregnancy on. Someone believable, someone stable, someone with a good job, a clean image, and most importantly, someone with a connection to her. That's when I came in, Alyssa's brother. I was furious. Not just because of what Chloe had done to me, but because I wasn't even her first target. She had already tried the exact same scam on someone else. Brandon didn't just share his story, he had proof. Screenshots of messages from Chloe, claims that he was ghosting her, accusations that he was erasing conversations. The whole 9 yards. It was practically copy, pasted from what Alyssa had told me Chloe said about me. It was damning. I asked Brandon if he'd be willing to share his story with Alyssa or even Chloe's parents. He didn't want to get directly involved, but he gave me permission to use the screenshots however I needed. I knew I had to move carefully. If I went directly to Chloe or Alyssa again, it would just blow up in my face. But maybe someone else would listen. So I wrote a detailed message to Chloe's mom. I kept it simple, just the facts. I explained that I had never met her daughter, that I was being falsely accused, and that I had evidence from another person who had been in the exact same situation. I attached the screenshots from Brandon, laid out the timeline, and hit send. For the next hour, I stared at my phone, waiting. Finally, Chloe's mom called me back. Her voice was quiet, but calm. She thanked me for reaching out, said she had no idea any of this was happening, and asked me to send her everything I had. I forwarded the email immediately. An hour later, I got the call that changed everything. Chloe had confessed. She admitted that she lied about me being the father. She said she didn't know how to handle being pregnant and panicked after Brandon rejected her. She thought pinning the pregnancy on me would be easier. Chloe's parents were furious. They apologized profusely and told me they were pulling her out of college and taking her home. She wouldn't be returning anytime soon. I should have felt relief, and I did, for a moment. But then came Alyssa. She showed up at my apartment unannounced, slamming the door behind her, face flushed with anger. "I can't believe you called Chloe's parents," she said. I stared at her, speechless. Chloe had confessed. The truth was out. But instead of acknowledging that, Alyssa blamed me for escalating the situation. She was scared. She didn't know what to do. She cried. "You could have just let it blow over instead of ruining her life." I couldn't believe it. Chloe had lied, framed me for something I didn't do, and publicly dragged me through hell, and I was the one who overreacted. I told Alyssa the truth. Chloe brought this on herself. If she hadn't lied in the first place, none of this would have happened. Alyssa didn't care. She stormed out, saying I had made everything worse. But the real blow came a few hours later, a call from my mom. Apparently, Alyssa had gone straight to our parents, spinning a twisted version of events, that I had attacked Chloe, that I went behind everyone's back and ruined her future. She left out the part where Chloe lied about everything. My mom was confused. My dad was angry. For the next hour, I walked them through everything from the Instagram post to the refusal of the paternity test, from Brandon's message to Chloe's confession. By the end, there was silence on the line. My dad spoke first. "We believe you." He promised to have a serious talk with Alyssa, that he wouldn't allow this kind of behavior to continue in the family. For the first time in weeks, I felt something I hadn't in a long time: relief. The day after my parents found out the truth, everything shifted. Alyssa called me, voice full of rage. She said Mom and Dad had chewed her out for siding with Chloe, and now they were threatening to stop paying for her college tuition unless she apologized to me and cut all ties with Chloe. She was furious. "You turned them against me," she spat. "You're tearing this family apart." I didn't even argue. I just told her the truth. "You sided with someone who lied. You refused to believe me, even with proof. I didn't turn anyone against you. You did that to yourself." Alyssa didn't want to hear it. She doubled down, claiming she was just trying to support a friend in need. She said she didn't understand why everyone was ganging up on her. But the line had been drawn. My dad told her she had 1 week to fix things or they'd cut off her tuition support permanently. That same day, she called me again, this time crying. She begged me to talk to our parents on her behalf, said she couldn't afford to stay in school without their help, that she didn't want to lose everything over one mistake. I listened. I let her vent. And then I calmly said, "I'm not the one you need to apologize to. You owe that to Mom and Dad. And frankly, to yourself." Alyssa hung up. That was the last time I heard her voice. Weeks passed. My parents told me she'd taken out a student loan and returned to school, but she wasn't answering their texts or calls, typical Alyssa when backed into a corner. She chose silent protest over reflection. Part of me felt bad. I knew how hard it would be for her juggling classes, work, and loan debt. But I also knew this wasn't a punishment. It was consequence. She had chosen Chloe over her own brother and clung to a lie, even after it fell apart. As for Chloe, she was still trying to spin her way out, from what Brandon told me. Chloe was telling everyone she only lied because she was scared. She said she didn't know who the real father was, and panicked when she thought she might have to raise the baby alone. She conveniently left out the part where she refused a DNA test, made public accusations, and tried to manipulate not one, but two men into accepting paternity. Her version of the story painted her as a misunderstood victim, just a scared girl who made a mistake. And you know what? I might have felt sympathy if she hadn't dragged my name through the mud in front of hundreds of people. If she hadn't let Alyssa turn against me. If she hadn't lied again and again to avoid taking responsibility. There's no rewind button in real life. Once something's out there, especially online, it sticks. The damage had been done. Even though the truth eventually came out, I still felt the ripple effects. I lost followers, I lost sleep, I lost trust. But I gained something else, clarity, in the weeks that followed. My relationship with my parents grew stronger. They called more, checked in. We started having weekly dinners, something we hadn't done since I was in high school. It felt good, like family again. One night, my mom brought up Alyssa. Her voice cracked as she said, "I miss her. I just wish she hadn't let it go this far." I didn't say anything at first, just stared at my plate, thinking about how close Alyssa and I used to be. We were like best friends growing up, constant inside jokes, always defending each other. But now it felt like we were strangers. This ordeal had revealed a side of her I never saw before, a side that chose blind loyalty over truth, a side that would rather preserve a friendship than protect her own brother. It hurt, but it also forced me to reevaluate everything. Some people, no matter how close you think you are, won't have your back when it matters most. Some people will believe lies if it's more comfortable than facing the truth. And some people will disappoint you in ways you never imagined. And yet, despite all that, I'm still standing. I didn't break. I didn't lash out. I didn't stoop to their level. I just held on to the truth and waited. Now that the dust has settled, I feel lighter, freer, like a weight's been lifted. Chloe's lies didn't define me. Alyssa's betrayal didn't destroy me. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I'm just done. I don't know if Alyssa will ever come around. I hope she does. I hope one day she looks back and sees how much damage her blind trust in Chloe caused. But that's not on me anymore. I've said what I needed to say. I've proven what I needed to prove. Now, it's up to them to deal with the fallout. As for me, I'm moving forward.